So welcome to the Node.js Next 10 meeting, looking at what's going to make help keep Node.js successful for the next 10 years. We forgot to start the streaming, my fault. Sorry about that. What we've been started off with is discussing the next step in terms of the constituencies and the needs that we've worked on. We worked on that last week. In between then and now, we landed the document which captures that. But the sort of closing step is we want to make sure that we validate that against the greater community. And we've been talking about a few ways that we can do that. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And we were looking at some different ideas. So things like doing a survey, using tweets from the Node.js account, doing user interviews, and emails to foundation members. And we're just sort of working on what the questions would be in a survey. So sorry, Tierney, I think you were just mentioning that there might be one more thing, but we're still trying to figure out what that might be, right?
Yeah, I figured like three questions is probably going to be good. I just can't think of another question. Roy or Darcy, do you maybe have an idea on what another fitting question would be? It's also okay if not.
Yeah, I can't think of anything right now.
How about just a very, very generic one? You know, is there anything else you would like to add on this topic?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, if we're trying to make sure that we are not sort of cutting out some sort of aspect we're missing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know, if we think that's good, I can volunteer to reach out to the foundation to ask for that kind of survey. I think an email to the foundations asking the similar questions would make sense. Does that make sense to people too?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, basically, maybe asking them to, I mean, if we do the survey, we could ask them to fill out the survey, but it might be interesting to just see if there's direct responses in terms of that using the similar questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I slightly lost the thread there because I was saying we're live. We could even have a separate survey for like the mailing list and for, you know, putting it out from the Node Twitter account and have it be the same questions, but just gather the different responses distinctly to make sure, like, to see kind of where the differences are and what the potential biases are or something like that.
Okay.
Is like a low barrier kind of thing to do there.
Okay, right. Copy of the survey. We know foundation member responses look like versus overall community. Yeah, that's a good idea. So basically that email might just be, here's the survey, but it's a different survey link. And, you know, so we can compare those responses to what we get back from just the more general one.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in terms of tweets from the Node.js account, should that be like just promoting the survey, or, you know, we've done in the past sometimes. Okay. Sometimes we've said, like, you know, you can comment in this issue, but probably the survey makes the most sense. Okay.
Yeah, the deliverable thing there is the survey. I mean, we might also want, I don't know if tweeting like, hey, we're like, maybe if we do some kind of intake form for random folks, that like we also might want to put that out.
Yep.
But also that'll get a lot of, like, just knowing that account now, that'll get a lot of replies, and it might be too much for us to manage.
Right. You mean in terms of user?
Right. In interaction there will be high, and so yeah, you know, that's fine. We can do, like, we don't have to look through all of them, but it, you know, I think that's a good problem to have. It's just maybe challenging. And I want to make sure we're not like overselling the work we can do.
Yeah, no, agreed. I wondered
If
if
we're
we just
concerned about that.
like we could, in terms of a user interviews, we could just
Mhm.
we could like promise one session of the next 10 where we invite everybody who's
Mhm.
interested and talk through it. Like versus, it would be a lot of work to
Yeah.
have individual interviews. But if there was like, a bunch of people who were interested in coming and talking through that for an hour, I think that would actually be quite interesting, right?
The challenge with that is just that the fidelity of the feedback you end up getting is going to be a lot lower. And then it also does introduce like if someone's a more quiet person and another person in that is a loud person, the quiet person is probably not going to talk as much. And
True.
so you're not going to hear from them as much. So I mean, like I would also be willing to help run. Like I'm happy to sign up and like run a bunch of these.
Okay.
For like if we
Yeah.
can set them to like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Run. So, I mean, maybe just again, like I think we want to bound it in terms of like what we think we can do, right? So you're turning up several sessions. So like how many sessions do you have in mind? And are they one-on-one sessions or are they, what are you
Yeah,
thinking?
I would assume they'd be one-on-one unless like if other people from the project would want to join, we could do that too.
I sort of meant you and one other person or you and several people, right? Like, is it?
It'd probably be one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah, it would probably wouldn't be like a bunch of people, and it'd be just like basically we have a set of questions, and we go kind of in depth on those rather than
Right.
breadth. So, and again, that would be up to whatever questions we want to set is what I'd ask.
Right. And then the question would, and I think, it's possibly the survey questions, but
Mm-hmm.
more, it's because it's free form, it's much
Mm-hmm.
easier to go into,
Yeah.
to start with those and then you can go into different areas, right? To so sort of like in terms of scoping, like how many do you think you can do and how would we, if we tweeted that out, how would we get the narrow it down? Or is it that, you have several people in mind that you think we could reach out to or?
I mean, yeah, I think it maybe just there's a few ways we could do it. We could just randomly select people from that pool. We could intentionally select, making sure we're getting as wide a range of backgrounds as possible. And like part of that intake form could be like, give us context
Yep.
on your background and stuff. Um, so yeah, I think that we might want to try to get as many backgrounds as possible. But yeah, I think then go once we have that input going and selecting from the pool we have and making sure we're getting as wide a representation as we can.
Okay. So several individual. I'm kind of thinking like maybe we should still have one group session.
Yeah, I
So
think
that
that's fair.
everybody who's interested to come and actually talk to us about it has an opportunity. And then follow that up with some individual sessions, where you select the people based on, trying to get the good coverage of the different areas and where people come from and all that kind of stuff, without having them be the people who need to speak up in the larger group.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. So in terms of that, yeah. So intake form. Okay, intake form that gives Tierney the ability to select right cross section. Select X from that for individual reviews and capture to the repo, right? don't know if demographics is the right word, but. Okay, so Tierney, is that something like this section here, okay, wait a sec, I think I got this wrong. Right. This probably goes up here in terms of like putting together the intake form.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
something
would say that's something we should do as a group.
Okay.
Like get questions ready and then hand them over to Rachel to
right.
She can help us put them in a survey monkey thing. And
Well, for the survey question, like I think that one I can, like we've got the questions
Yeah.
here. I was just going to say, okay, Rachel, here's our questions.
Yeah.
For the intake form, I guess then maybe we can, do you want to come up with that list now?
I at least for I would say we probably don't want to ask the individual and group session. For demographics, that's like a relatively well-defined set that we can probably just do async. And then I guess, like, are there any other qualifying questions you'd want to have for this, or are we just interested in like full self-selection? Like, if someone, like, the implication that if someone is filling out this survey, they're probably going to be interested in giving feedback anyway. Like, people aren't just randomly filling out surveys for no reason about specific topics. So perhaps just like getting demographic information and then moving on is fine. But I don't know if we have any other qualifying stuff that we want to have in that.
Right. I guess the other approach is we could put that into the main survey as a question instead of a separate intake form. Is that? But I guess then, like the demographics, we only really want to ask for if they're interested, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it also, I don't think it's bad to have that in the main form, and then like have an additional option of, would you like us to reach out to you to do like a one-on-one session, or would you be interested in us potentially reaching out to you for a one-on-one? And then from there, if they answer yes, cool, we'll add that, we'll filter that out, or filter out everyone who says no, and then select select from that.
Are you interested in joining a group session to discuss the constituencies and needs? And are you interested in joining a one-on-one session to discuss the right? That?
I'd say not joining, but participating in, rather than joining a.
Okay.
Tiny difference, but yeah. Yep.
And for both of them?
Interested in. No, I think the second one, just the second one is fine.
Sure.
Cool.
Okay, so then it's like, in terms of the demographics that you're going to want to be able to sort of get that cross section, what is that list?
So I can do that async with Rachel.
Okay.
It's going to be like, socioeconomic, race, geographic, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I can go find like an official list. It's not just me making stuff up.
Okay, sure.
That is like good and respected.
Okay, so that sounds good. So I think user return step and run several individual sessions based on answers to survey, right? Okay, so I think that's enough then that we can send an email to Rachel saying, hey, we'd like to do this. Here are the questions. Tierney, you'll work directly with her in terms of the demographic info and sort of go from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can volunteer to send the email. I'll CC you, Tierney, to so that you can then pick up the demographic side of things. And I think we've got everything captured there that we need to do on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that's good for that agenda item. The next one, there's a number which is the key technical areas, next 10 for years, and revisit time slots. So I guess actually the revisit time slots is one that I know, Darcy, I think you put out a
Doodle, I think. Yeah.
doodle. Yeah, I don't know if there's any
That was
conclusion
for
from that.
package maintenance working group, I think. We didn't do one for this.
Sorry. Oh no, so it was Mary who set up the doodle. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I guess we'll skip that one until we have a meeting where Mary's able to make it. This one is the early, I think her time. The same thing I think for the next 10 for collaborators. I think Mary was going to hopefully lead that one. So I'd suggest we spend the rest of the time working on the sort of starting, and I know this will be a longer time, but like the process of generating the technical areas and trends that we think are important to the constituencies that we've identified. Makes sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe we set up a fun retro like we've done in the past and use that to
just the point of order. It looks like Jean is looking to join.
Yep, sorry. Yep. Thanks for the heads up. Okay, so I don't know, Darcy, if you want to set up the fun retro, I think you've got an actual account that I did it once, but it's a more limited account, so I think it's a little harder to.
Yeah, let me.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going? Give me 2 minutes and I can get that for you.
Just so you can add yourself to the minutes, Sean, here is, I'll repaste the link to the minutes.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Just copy, paste. What were the, we can change the columns, I guess, but I create a board again.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, what are the technical area, maybe technical areas, technology trends? Or is it just one column? Like, I think it's like, what do we think? It's starting that first list that, we can start to brainstorm.
Let me know if you can access that board.
I was able to.
So the columns that you want to see or we think would be important, Michael, would be technical trends.
Yeah, I'm not, it's technological, it's kind of technology trends, maybe Node.js features. I don't know, that might be enough. If we find things that don't fit, we can put them in those, and then we can, create new categories if there are new categories.
Do you want to take time to fill this out? I think that because I've cloned it, by default, if you add tickets into it, they won't be visible by default. But I know in other exercises, we usually give folks some time. And then
yeah, I think we should take like 5-10 minutes for everybody to go and put in their things and then do the reveal. I think that's a good way to start.
Cool.
So how long do people think we should take? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yep.
Let me check in at 5.
Sure.
Yeah, 5
Sounds like a good idea.
right.
Okay.
Maybe it's not. Looks like visibility is turned on.
Yeah, I guess I saw somebody else's.
But I
Also-
mean,
okay, hold on, everybody. Don't put in your secret sauce yet.
Show hide comments, allowing hide cards. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, hey, look, I can copy and paste this text now. They just CSS blur it. Oh no, it replaces it with okay.
This isn't the most like robust tooling.
It's awesome.
Good for collaboration.
What would be an example of something that would go in Node.js features?
One that came to mind was like quick.
Okay, cool.
I wouldn't agonize too much about it, but it's
okay. Makes sense.
I guess there's two other columns that come to mind that might have been useful, which is like ecosystem and the Node.js project. Like in terms of like, if we're talking, I don't know how if there's strictly technology things, but it's kind of like they relate to things that are strategic in terms of meeting the needs of the constituencies, because those are just some categories I'm have had a few ideas that I don't know how to fit into these two columns. Does that make sense to people, or?
I think so. So you're saying like, what in the next 10 years do we imagine the ecosystem features of the ecosystem that we could
It's kind of like, what are key things in the ecosystem we should be worrying about or thinking about?
I guess I put that up to trends. I know it's
Maybe
like
that's trends.
is-
Okay, so
yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, I'll just put stuff there and we can go. So, yeah, okay, other's good.
I think I might be coming to an end of my.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting there too. Maybe.
Yep. Same.
John, you done too? Jean, sorry.
You're muted it for what it's worth, John. Take that as an implicit yes, I guess.
Sure, yeah, let's go for it.
You're muted, Darcy.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm also like mumbling to myself half
You're
the time.
good.
Great. So if we're done, I can show the cards if we're all okay with that.
Sounds good.
What I think we've done in the past is try to do a quick pass and see if there's any overlapping tickets and then combine them and then go through, I guess, sort of a voting system. I think everybody has like 6 votes. And then I guess.
Sounds good. I will just put it up in terms of so people watching can see it as well.
Yeah, I think you can manage if you want to go through them. If we see anything that should be obviously collapsed into one card. Yeah.
We got 2 serverlesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have 2 tracings at the top.
Tracing, transaction tracing. So those are okay. I guess types and TypeScript, are they the same?
I was more, at least for type, I would say TypeScript is a subset of that, at least in what I've seen. Like Python is now having a TypeScript like thing, and like other languages dynamically typed are also having typing. So that's more of a thing that I think is just becoming an industry standard or norm rather than specifically TypeScript.
Yeah.
But I think in our domain, TypeScript is the one that matters.
So I might go there. Just like I agree, it should actually be, if I could rearrange those. But like the trend is typing. Yes. TypeScript is just an example of that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, interesting. I don't know how this tool works totally. I think I voted for typing on accident. I don't know how to unvote.
I think you just click it again.
I've added 2 votes now.
Here, I'll give you. I'll give you.
I got to undo it. Yeah.
I undid it. Yeah.
Okay.
You can hit the X.
Pre-compilation.
Pre-compilation.
Are any of these
pre-compilation and single binary are kind of the same thing, although different a little bit.
Interesting. I was almost I almost put Jamstack and or like I imagine like pre-compilation being some sort of maybe automation as well. But do you mean pre-compilation in a different way?
So pre-compilation, I mean just like everything from like Webpack, TypeScript, everything that it requires a build step to get to your final app. At this point is like a pre-compilation thing to me, and that's like I think as we see more JavaScript people picking up like Rust and Go, that is like a normal standard as well, or normal expectation. So like I guess that was more of what I was getting at, is just like there is the trend of people are trying to reduce it, but we are inherently living in a world where we transpile everything or precompile everything. So that's
so having compilation in the flow versus not.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's been numerous attempts and successful and not successful to do translation of ESM and CommonJS and Node and stuff like that. So I don't think we'll see people stop trying to do that with Node.
Right. Yeah.
Also, Node is the tool that they're often writing that stuff in. So.
Right. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Quick argument parser. So I think these two maybe fit together. No, they don't actually. They're different.
Is boring SSL or alternative SSL something like not alternative SSL is the thing, but like alternative SSL tooling something that should go in Node.js features, or is this things that already exist?
These are like, what do we think is strategic for the success in the next 10 years?
Yeah.
So if you think that like having alternatives is strategic, throw it in there. I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. That wouldn't be. I wouldn't necessarily immediately agree, but I don't necessarily disagree. So like, it's basically if you think it is, throw it in there, and it's worth discussing. So
I think enough people have brought it up over time
Yeah.
that it's worth having.
Is better installers and binary management similar, or can they be combined?
it's a good question. On what I wrote the better installers, but not sure what people had for binary management in mind.
So I know we had like the binary summit.
Yep.
And that was essentially, like,
Okay.
we were talking a lot about like, installation.
Good. So if that's what you had in mind, then
Yeah.
Make it fit nicely together.
Just a quick time check. We have about 7 minutes left. So.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to like go through the people could mark their what they think is most important.
Sure.
And then maybe we just leave it at that, and next time we pick it up, and we might do another pass of this just to see if we've come up with new ideas or other people have other ideas. And
sure, if people don't mind, I can sort this by votes then. Is that okay? So it'll shift around here.
Sure.
That's okay. Cool.
So I don't know if everybody now, would you say we each get 6 or something?
Yeah, I think we each get 6 votes. Yeah.
Okay. Is that 6 votes across both columns or in each column?
It's across both, so we can
Okay.
I can increase it. Like, let's just give everybody 10, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
sense. Call it a day. Because you can also, if you really feel strongly about something that you think is really important, you can, I think, double up and
you can.
Okay.
So you can invest all your 10 points into one thing if you think it's.
Yes, I just put 7 in documentation.
So did you up it to 10? Because I don't seem to be able to do it.
I'm definitely able to put it up to 10. I just put 7 in, and then I had a few others out.
So you might be invested somewhere, Michael.
Okay. How do I uninvest?
So
click the X next to the
beside
thumb.
your votes. Yeah.
And each it'll if there's an X there, you can remove it.
I only have 5 X's. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So it does not do an X per thing. It does if you remove one, it will. And there's 2 votes from you in it. There will still be an X there.
Right. So so I'm doing that.
Although there's definitely not 10 votes on the board plus everyone.
It'll tell you how many you have left. So every time you vote, it tells you have more than. Yeah, you definitely have more than 6 because the little prompt at the top tells you, notification tells you how many you have left each time. So if you click to vote on something, it'll tell you how many you have left.
Okay, so let me try now here.
So at the top,
maybe I was just clicking. Okay, I might have just been stupidly clicking in the wrong place. So
what up-to-date ES version JavaScript support and ESM are the same?
I guess so. Although ESM is kind of a subset of it, but I think it can probably be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Not there's no modules. Yeah.
I wrote the one hey, we need to have.
You're right.
The latest ES version support.
Yeah.
ESM. Yeah. Okay. So there we go.
What is FIPS again? I remember that from
Federal Information Processing Standard.
Oh Jesus, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
What would that even look like in Node? I don't totally understand what that might.
We had like basically we had it built in a way that supported people using it in FIPS environments. Like we actually had an option where you could build it in a specific way and it then met the requirements because you couldn't.
That's right. I
You can't.
remember that.
Yeah. So it may actually be different. OpenSSL 3 allows sort of a plugin approach.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be that, we don't need to do as much special, but it's basically doing what we can in within Node to enable Node to be used with FIPS, basically.
So I'm out of votes.
Also out of votes.
Yeah, I'm almost there, but I can't not do that. Okay, so yeah, I think you can probably sort it now by the.
I think it was already sorted, so that's unfortunately why I think if you maybe it's personally, so you can if you click on it, it might.
Maybe if I refresh.
Sort order.
Yeah, you might have to
If
do
you
it. It might be.
Okay.
Might be at an individual level, yeah.
Right. Okay. There. Yeah. That's. So yeah, I certainly struggle because a lot of these ones, I can't say they're not important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah.
Just because it got 0 votes doesn't mean like worker thread support. I think is really important.
It's super important. Yeah.
But it's kind of But I think this is just an interesting view for us, and we're pretty much at time to now kind of think about where people did put their interest levels. I would put it as strictly as opposed to important.
Yeah, we're also a small group, right? So
absolutely.
It skews heavily to our own individual.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can just? So I was gonna say, is there any way you can like we can make some kind of board like this and then just tweet it and say throw your thumbs up on the things you care about?
Definitely do that. I can.
I honestly think that would be. I think that would be really interesting to maybe like clean this up a bit, like dedupe a little bit and publish it and just say like, hey, we're interested in this. Maybe have an issue for it and just say like, ask the whole group, does anyone want to add anything or modify this? But that would be a really interesting way to collect feedback, I think.
I guess just like a fun retro where everybody could, like a board like this where anybody could add stuff. Right? I guess anybody can add it, right? But tweeting that out and saying, add your stuff
that's
in,
fair.
Right?
Yeah. That would be interesting.
We did this. We did that for NPM at a former, one of the previous interactive collaboration subnets.
Interesting.
And you get some interesting feedback. Sometimes you get some people not being as serious about it.
I think we should make a separate board.
Sure.
Like I'd almost be tempted to say like, here's a blank board, and have this is like anybody, because you don't necessarily know who voted, but that one could be like, here's just the anybody came and gave us some suggestions, and then that could be used as input to the group, sort of refining what we've got here.
I definitely think seeding it a bit with a few things will help get other people engaging in it. Just like even if it's like basic things like documentation, ESM, worker threads, and then like similar on the other side like GraphQL,
or maybe we could make a clone
kind of stuff
of this.
Yeah.
Right, like I'm just thinking it'd be nice to know, to keep our original thoughts of like, hey, the team who was here came up with these. Here's what we ended up with the whole everybody commenting.
Yeah. Do you want to create maybe an issue just so we can coordinate async, and I can definitely set up another board or
I'm late.
We're over time.
We'll head out, but let's do that async. when I edit the minutes, I'll create an issue, and I'm going to add a link to this fun retro, and then that will do that. We can do that async, because that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ciao.